everyone. This is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is demonstrate how to calculate total revenue, profit, marginal revenue, marginal cost, and how to find the profit maximization point. And that's basically what you're going to be doing for problem 10.2 on pages 204 and 205 in your textbook. It's part of the chapters 10 and 11 assignment. So in the problem in your textbook, it gives you the quantity of apples, the price of the apples, total cost, and then it wants you to calculate total revenue, profit, marginal revenue, marginal cost, and then find the profit maximization or loss minimization point. Okay, so in this example here, this is an example very, very similar to the one that you're going to be completing for your assignment. And what I've done here is I've got quantity of footballs here on the left column of the table, then the product price, the total cost, total revenue, profit, marginal revenue, and marginal cost. And I'm going to show you how to make those calculations here. A lot of these we've already done before. But you'll notice, of course, in Chapter 10, we're learning about monopoly. And with the monopoly market structure, since they do have some power to set prices in the market, they face a downward sloping demand curve, which means that the price is going to decrease as units of production increase. Okay, as we sell more in the market, in order to sell more as a downward sloping demand curve facing monopolist, we have to lower our price in order to sell more units of our goods. And so you'll notice that the price goes down as we produce more of this particular good. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, so the first thing it wants us to calculate is total revenue. We've done this before. We did this in Chapter 9 in the problems that we calculated there. But basically total revenue, just like we learned before, is just the number of units or quantity multiplied by the price. And of course, the price is changing as we move through different levels of production in this case. So just kind of be aware of that the price is going to be changing. So you'll have to kind of keep that in mind. It won't be the same price all the way down. So basically the total revenue, obviously with 0 units of production, which is that first row on the table, your total revenue is going to be $0 because it would just be 0 units times the $60 per unit price, which would give you a value of $0 in total revenue. And that should make sense to you. If we're producing nothing, we're not making any revenue yet. Okay. Now, to calculate profit on that first row, it's just going to be your total revenue minus your total cost. In this case, our total revenue is 0. Our total cost, which is our fixed cost, is $50. So we're losing $50. So we have a profit of minus $50, okay, or a loss of $50. And then basically you calculate total revenue and profit the same way all the way down through the table, okay? So that's what I've done here. All right, now the next thing it's going to want us to calculate is marginal revenue, okay? And if you remember from previous chapters, specifically Chapter 9 and even before that, we learned that marginal revenue is calculated by taking the change in total revenue divided by the change in quantity. So in this case now, with no units of production, obviously our marginal revenue is 0 or can't be calculated because we're not changing any levels of production yet. We're not going from 0 to 1 or 0 to 10 yet. So basically I've just put a dash there on that first row, okay? Because you can't calculate a marginal value if nothing's changed yet, okay? So if we're producing nothing, we haven't changed our production, so our marginal value cannot be calculated. It's going to be the same thing with our marginal cost. We can't calculate that yet because we haven't changed, we haven't actually produced anything yet, okay? All right, now, starting with the second row of the table here, 10 units or 10 footballs here of production, we can calculate our marginal revenue. Our marginal revenue is just going to be the change in our total revenue. In this case, it's gone from 0 to 500, so our change in total revenue is $500 divided by the change in our quantity, which in this case is 10 because we moved from 0 to 10 units. So it'd be $500 divided by 10. So our marginal revenue value is $50, okay? And again, you would calculate that marginal value the same way all the way down, right? Again, just the change in your total revenue divided by the change in quantity. And the change in quantity is going to be 10 each time. So you're always going to be dividing the change in total revenue, in this case, by the 10 unit change in quantity, because we're basically starting with 0, going to 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So our change in production levels or quantity is going to be 10 each time. So that's basically how we calculated marginal revenue. Now, to calculate marginal cost, it gave us the total cost at various units of production here at each level. So again, it's just going to be the change in your total cost divided by the change in quantity. And the change in quantity, as we said when we calculated marginal revenue, is going to be 10 units each time. So, for example, on that first 10 units of production, which is the second row of the table, our marginal cost is going to be calculated as 300 total cost minus what it was previously, which was 50. So it would be a change of $250 divided by the change in quantity, which is 10. And so 250 divided by 10 is $25. So our marginal cost for 10 units of production is $25. And again, you calculate that the same way all the way down. Just the change in your total cost divided by the change in quantity. All right. Now, one of the other things it's going to ask us about, and by the way, I have down here at the bottom of this slide, I have included the formulas for all the things that we just calculated. Total revenue, profit, marginal revenue, marginal cost. So you can always kind of refer to those formulas. Of course, these are in your book as well, but I just thought for convenience purposes, I would put them at the bottom of this slide. Now, one of the other things it's going to ask about on this problem on the assignment is it's going to ask you where marginal revenue and marginal cost is the same or equal, okay? Because that's going to be our profit maximization or loss minimization point. So we look down through here at these values, marginal revenue and marginal cost are equal at 30 units of production, okay? Quantity of 30 footballs, which is that fourth row of the table there, that is where, at a price of $30, that's where our marginal revenue equals our marginal cost. So, in order to maximize profit, this firm facing these particular numbers, these values, would produce at 30 units, 30 footballs in order to maximize their profit. Because remember, profit maximization happens where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. All right? Now, in some cases, you're going to be faced with losses at all units of production. So you may not be able to make a profit. In that case, in the short run, you have to minimize your losses. And that's one of the things you're going to run into when you work through this problem. So kind of keep that in mind. If you're faced with losses at all units of output, you have to look at where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Now, in some cases, it's going to be better to produce nothing in the short run and have your loss equal your fixed cost. So keep that in mind as well. That's kind of a little hint there. Okay. Now, so one of the other things it asks about here is where is our profit maximizing price? In this case, it's going to be best for this monopolist to charge a price of $30. They're going to be able to sell 30 footballs and make a profit of $350. That's going to be our maximum profit. You'll notice in the profit column where we said our profit was maximized according to marginal revenue, marginal cost, you can also look at the profit and see that that's where we maximize our profit. So just work through this problem and use the techniques that I just kind of explained in my demonstration here. If you have questions, just let me know. I'll be glad to help you. Make sure you take your time with this. It's going to take some time. You're going to have to kind of really think about what you're doing as you're making your calculations. But it's not really anything difficult. You just need to, kind of work through it. Take your time. And like I said, if you have questions, just let me know. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you.